Hey guys, True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws and Bluesaws.com. I'm back with the Blue G366. You saw I was having problems in the last video. Let me get my microphone somewhere and hopefully you guys can hear me. Anyhow, last video we left off, I thought I was having some kind of fuel leak sounding issue. And the odd thing about it is, I've been doing a lot of these lately. I got 3 or 4 more going out this week after the last 2, the orange and blue one. And they've been going pretty much smooth as silk for a while now, no problems. So when this one started giving me a problem, it kind of threw me off a little bit. And that happens sometimes, especially like the timing on them. When I had that timing advanced too much, then maybe I retarded it too much, and it gets your head thinking of 1,000 different things that it can be. I hope you can hear me. There's my kids running that other one of the other 366s in the woods there. But so you can probably hear the other chainsaw in the background. Hopefully it's not goofing us up too much. But so you run into a problem, and again, I've told you in other videos that I'll start ripping apart a saw, pressure testing, especially if it sounds leaky or whatever. But I jump right in, and try to do everything right when I should sit back, take a breath, and figure out what the problem is. So I posted that other video, and at the same time, I sent a message to Greg Chappie, and he's got Chaps Makatory on YouTube, and he does a hell of a job with slabbing wood, chainsaw milling, and he does some phenomenal stuff. He doesn't make a ton of videos, but he's worth watching and listening to, because not only is he really good with chainsaw milling and lumber and furniture building, but he's a hell of a chainsaw wrench. So check Greg out if you haven't had a chance to. So I put in a call to Greg, and Greg, I'm missing something stupid here. I'm not thinking right. Like, my head's goofy. So I said, watch the video and tell me what you see. During that time, I walk out to the shop and I grab a fuel line and stick it in my pocket. I'm going to swap out that fuel line. Well, Greg hits me as I'm walking back from the shop and says, did you check your fuel line? And I said, I sent him a picture, actually. It's right in my pocket right now. The funny thing is, I made a video a couple years about this on the 440s fuel line issue, and that's why on all of our 440 builds, we swap out those fuel lines either for the highway or the OEM, depending on what the customer wants. We don't have any problems. 361 in the 440 and 460 run the same fuel line. So what the problem is, and I don't have my head totally around this yet, is if you imagine a pipe, and a thick-walled pipe at that, and imagine that one of the walls has 85% of the material and the other one only has 15%. So this side is thinner and softer. Doesn't seem like it would be a problem. It pressure tests fine. It's not leaking or anything. And I'm not sure if what's happening is because it's soft there and you get fuel running through it, if it sucks in and starts doing, compressing, or if it's with movement at those, especially where the bends are, because those are a Z-shaped fuel line, where the bends are in the fuel tank as it moves, if that thin spots are making it kink and restrict the flow of fuel. Because you'll even see at the end of that video, the other 366 video, you saw me tipping the saw on its side as it's idling and opening up the fuel cap, closing the fuel cap, opening and closing it, which if you were getting suction in the tank from a tank vent kind of issue, shouldn't happen that fast, but you get thinking crazy things, and it kept running and running. So what I've done so far is I've made a few cuts with this saw yesterday. It ran perfect, started perfect, was doing everything perfect. I started it up early this morning. I left it outside all night. It was 20 degrees. Started right up perfect, so it's acting normal now. Hopefully it doesn't make a liar of me. Then I want to put, a little bit of time in this saw to make sure that I have the issue squared away, and it was a fuel line. So I got this little bit of ash out here, and this is a tree that I knocked down. Actually, it was a dead ash that split in half, and then I just knocked down the 20 feet that was left of the butt log, and I was logging it up for firewood, and I never grabbed some of these pieces last year because it's kind of a pain to get a trailer back here into the woods. If I take the truck back here, there's only so many spots you could drive, and you're four-wheeling your truck more than you want to through the woods, and it's swampy in spots, so you could get stuck till it freezes if you do the wrong thing. But maybe I'll take the quad and a small trailer and get some of this. So I kind of wanted to see what this would look like after sitting for a year, and I figured I could run a few cuts in this ash with this saw and make a video for you. The other thing I meant to tell you in the other video, one of these other quirky things with these, depending on the stock of 366s and how old it is, there's two different air filters that Farmertec has for these. It looks exactly the same, except one has a yellowish seal gasket edge to it, and that yellowish edge seems to not last and crack very quickly. Like, it degrades quickly and cracks. So we've been swapping them out on the builds, at least, with the white one with, and it looks more like silicone, where the other one looks more like a latex rubber maybe. So those, I'm seeing them cracking off a lot, where these silicone ones, I don't have a lot of time on them, but they look like they're going to last longer. These guys like to allow fines in, so you really got to make sure you have that air filter seated on them, and you have your thumb screw back here nice and tight to hold that together. And even then you might wind up getting some fines, because even the OEM 361 I don't think has, not my favorite filtration. A lot of Stihls are like that though. So what I'm going to do is I'll pop in my headphones, start this up, just make a couple cuts. This is just a follow-up video to say, hey, I think I got it. I don't know that I got it, but I think I got it. Because this saw really has to go out, and then I got those other four to work on and get them right out. So I don't want to get too far backed up with saws, and that's just the 366s. Anyhow, guys, was there anything else to tell you? Yeah, that's it. Wasn't the carb, even though I swapped out the carb on this one. I believe it was the fuel line. We'll see. This is kind of the final test. I might run it one more time just to put a little more time on it. Maybe I'll go cut some of that, and I got a couple tops over there to cut. So, but for the video, I'll just make a couple quick cuts. Let's see what we got. Let's see if our microphone's working. Oh, looks like it is. Probably gonna lose it. You know what? I'm gonna set that there. This was started hours and hours ago, so kind of a good sign. Like I said, guys, she was ice cold, so I want to warm her up, especially a new saw that's not broken in. Well, I'm pretty happy, guys. I mean, she's running right. I know she's got some more rip'ems in her. I'm just not going to tune this all the way out on a brand new saw. We'll let her break in for a little bit and then have the end user tune her up. And again, when I ship out a saw, I try not to have it on bleeding edge of RPM simply because I don't know what fuel you're using. I don't know what oil you're using, and maybe you want to do a little bit of break-in time. So if I send something to somebody with my fuel that's, at 14,000 RPMs and they have leaner fuel, better fuel, I don't know. Try to err on the side of caution. So yeah, I know I could hear it too. It's got more RPMs in it, and the plug's probably not a nice toasted marshmallow look. It's probably looking a little bit black, but that's the way we could run her for a little bit, and then I'll tune her up a little more as I get into it. But I'm pretty happy. She seems like she's starting good and acting correct now. Oh, maybe. Well, I think that's a video. I just want to follow up on it. I got more saws to do and a bunch more things to do, so I just figured I'd let you guys know how I made out. True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws, and Bluesaws.com. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.